Everyone, good evening. Last class we have done reading passages which come under language section. So we are continuing with that. Again, those who were present last time, you could have seen that the first and second questions were completed, but I would like to recap again. Only two more classes we'll be taking for language. So if you have got any doubts, you need to clarify it, because this is the toughest part, where you have to answer 44 questions in 35 minutes time. I'm emphasizing on the time because you need to do it fastest. So when you get this kind of a question, a passage, and the question number one, but there is no question here, you should not worry. You go directly to the number one. And in the passage, you can see number one, and in number one, they have used the word and. So you need to say whether you need and or not. To identify that, you can either read before or after the sentence and get the answer. Last class, you have already answered. No problem. Just till others come. In SAT, you get only reading comprehension passages. You get 51 section. There are two sections in English in SAT. Section 1, you get normal reading passages, and there is also a combination of two shorter passages where you need to combine. That we'll be discussing next week. So in section 1, you get normal reading passages which are not difficult. Like how you do it, you need to follow a method, and you get only 65 minutes time, 55 questions. So you need to do it faster. There is a method, you get different types of questions. So I did not deal with that. The second section is language and writing section. We are doing the language section, where you get again reading passages, where you can see that certain sentences are underlined. And these underlined questions were asked, and you need to find out based on the question what you do. It is not like normal reading passage. So here in the question number one, they did not give any question. So you get worried, what is this? You just have to look at question number one, and you need to see whether you need to have and or no and. That is whether it is called as improving the passage. Whether you need to improve the passage or not. Okay, that is the section. So these kind of sections, you need to look at all the grammar points, negative sentences, punctuation marks, and whether you need to use the right adjective or not. So this is what we have been learning even the last class. So here you get 44 questions, and you need to answer in 35 minutes a time. In the exam, you get less than the questions a time. So I am repeating again, 35 minutes, 44 questions. So we are doing half of it. Actually, we should be able to complete in 15 minutes, to be honest. So when you get this kind of question, you look at and see whether you need to replace and or not. So you look at the starting of the sentence where there are some problems. Per se is a journalist, noted the reading material available to grade schoolers a hard time competing with television, radio, other media for children attention. So do we need and or not? That is what they ask. First A. Okay, A. So A. And with had a harder time with competing with the television, radio, and with other media. So is a television, radio, is it a medium or not? If it is a medium, then we don't have to use and with. And also, if you get with, why can't we go with also? That is what we need to identify. Two stupid choices we can eliminate. We have got and with and also, both have got the same meaning, and you cannot go with the two answers. You have to go only with one answer. So it cannot be and with and also, because and with and also means the same. So our answer should be A or D. Then it would be easy. And competing is already given before comma. If it is again written, it is a repetition. So our answer should be A. That is, there is no change. You can have as it is. Okay, just and is enough. There is no need for and, with, and also. It's not necessary. So this is how very quickly you need to get the answer. You need to look at the question, you find out what is given there. Do you have any clues? We have got clues, that is punctuation mark, comma. So we identify what are these: television, radio, and other media. So if they say and other media and with other media, that is we are talking about entirely different medium of communication, entirely different medium. But television, radio, and other medium may be something which is related to attract the children. Children get attracted towards a television, radio, or maybe internet or something. So that is what they are using it. So here, when we look at the options, we think that and we can go with. It looks okay. It is not that the sentence what is given is wrong. You need to choose the best sentence. So we can go with and with other media. It looks okay. So and C also looks okay. So one thing we need to keep in mind, we cannot have two answers. B and C look same. There is not much difference. So we can easily eliminate. Then it's easy for us with going with A, because we cannot repeat the word competing with television, radio, and competing with other media. Why to repeat? So answer is there is no change. So answer is A. Whoever have given D, it is wrong, because we should not repeat the same word which is already given there. And the purpose is whatever is given is repeated again. So there is no need for repetition. Hope you have got it. Already some have already started giving the answer for the second one. Second one, we need to look at the question. The writer wants to include a quotation by Hershey. Hershey is a journalist that supports the topic of the passage. So we need to find out what is the topic. Which choice best accomplish this goal? So before I look at the option, if there is any, no. Before I look at your answers and check whether it's right or wrong, let me explain. Here, the second sentence is given. So you look at the starting of the sentence, that is, it is one solution. One solution he is Hershey proposed was to make children's book more interesting, since that is the quote. Individual sense of wholeness, something and something is given there follows, and it cannot precede a sense of accomplishment. Now, the go in the previous sentence, what do they talk about? They talk about children's attention. So answer should be related to children. So if you look at, we can go with a no change. Interesting, since learning starts with failure. Did they speak about failure in the previous sentence? Because after next, there is no sentence here. If there is a failure, we can go with the B. Journalism allow its readers. So this is for us, it doesn't create any kind of confusion, because we do not know who this person is. Hershey. Hershey is an American journalist. So Americans easily know it. So they think that he's a journalist. Maybe they're talking about journalism. But we are people who just look at reading passage as a passage, and they're talking about children. So the best option would be not a C, yes, D. Because they're talking about children. What quotation? So which can goal is related to children. You can see in the beginning, author expressed concern the children in United States were disengaged from learning how to read. So he's worried about children. So answer must be related to children. So we look at failure, we don't have failure. Journalism, is it? We do not know. But if you look at drawings, interesting with drawings like those of the wonderful imaginative geniuses amongst children's literature, then it can attract the attention of children. So this can be a better statement after this, instead of having this, since interestingly, from after interestingly, interesting with the drawing. So that is what, if you can add this, then it can be supporting the idea that it can attract, this kind of literature can attract children's attention. So answer should be D. If you find that D, but the second part of the passage mentions how fictions allow readers to live history. Okay, fine. See, for any kind of passage, we need to look at the first sentence. What do they talk about? Concern. He is worried about children in United States, and they have got a problem. And the problem which is talking about children who go to school and they don't read much. So he was finding one solution. What is that solution? Children's books must be more interesting. How can you make children's book interesting? Whether it is history or no history, doesn't matter. It can be only with a lot of drawings. The children would get attracted looking at the pictures. So answer should be D. Okay. I suppose understood the answer. Okay, we go to the next question. Yes, we have got here third. Again, we do not have any question number. So don't worry. You go to the place where there is number 3 and they have underlined a part of the sentence. This is for the student who joined today, who missed the class last. Sometimes they may highlight the word and underline. Sometimes they may not do it. If they do not highlight the sentence, they recreate that sentence, retype the entire sentence near the question number. Okay, so you don't have any confusion. So here Spalding, comma, the director. Now they have given a comma. So mainly the question must be related to punctuation mark. Comma. We have got 2 sentences. We cannot have hyphen because you have hyphen only to explain further. We cannot go with the B, Spalding, that it all means one sentence. So this is a William Spalding is the name. So you need to have a pause. Now we have to go with, is it A or C? Now A is, there is no comma after director. In C, there is a comma after director. So should we have a comma or not after director? D cannot be the answer because when you say Spalding hyphen, then you're going to elaborate more. So the director of education division of publishing company, full stop. So it is just only explaining his, who is he, not more than what is done. There are no other explanation about him. That is what, there is no explanation. They're just telling that who is this person? He's the person, is the director of what? Of education division of the publishing company. That's what they're talking about. So if you put a hyphen, you're going to speak further about this person. After hyphen here, they just explained who he is. So we can have a comma instead of have a hyphen. So we have got comma here, but after director, if you put a comma, then the next part of the sentence doesn't match. Comma or the education, no. So we need to go with, there is no need for any change. Any no changes, comma, the director of. That is C sentence without a comma. You should be very, very careful with the punctuation marks. If you get a punctuation mark in the question, you need to concentrate on punctuation mark in the options. Usually, we think that C is the answer because we're always in a hurry to complete it. Spalding, comma, the director. Okay, fine. We don't look at the punctuation mark. If you have a punctuation mark, place punctuation mark here, it doesn't make any sense. The director, comma, of the education division of publishing company, Spalding, comma, that's enough. This part, what the purpose of a comma is, if you remove this part, the entire thing, the director of education, if and you remove the entire sentence, it should still make sense. William Spalding read Hershey's article, fine, it should make sense. So if it should make sense, then there should be a comma after Spalding and after the description of the person. So here they are describing what this activity is. So answer should be, some have given, answer should be no change. It cannot be C. I'm repeating again, there is a comma after director. If you have a comma after director, Spalding, comma, the director, then why do you need to write of the? Just a director is enough. There is no need of the education division of the publishing company. Director, you are explaining who this person is. You are not going to explain the director. If you're going to explain the director, then you can have a comma. Okay, and moreover, it doesn't match. Using preposition after director doesn't make any sense. So we are describing about the person. Who is that person? We do not know. So they want to express, so you use a comma. So answer is no change. Okay. So next, hope understood. It is not a C because there is a comma. Now in the fourth sentence, which choice most effectively combines the sentence at the underlined portion. So we should combine the sentence. After reader, they have given a full stop and they have used he with capital letter as a different sentence. Now we need to make it as a one sentence. Which sentence matches? Is it readers and he? So for that, what we need to do is read a little ahead. Spalding agreed that there was a need for appealing books for beginning readers. After that, and he thought, or namely, he thought, and Spalding thought, Spalding agreed. Again, do you use a name? So you can't use a name. That is for definite. This you can eliminate. You can't use a name because already it is there. So you have to use a pronoun. So pronoun is okay. And we need to use a namely. Again, you are going to speak about what are the things he's going to say. So it can't be namely, he thought, no, that cannot be there. So is it, and meanwhile means there must be some kind of activity happening after that. So yes, some have given the answer right. So it can't be semicolon. If you have, we already discussed, if you have got a semicolon, after that you don't need and. You can just straight away start with the noun. You have to start with a noun or a pronoun after semicolon, because the purpose of semicolon is like a full stop. Only thing is after full stop, you use a capital letter, but here you do not use. That is the only difference. So it can't be there. And meanwhile, there is no activity. So it must be no change. They did not give no change. It's better we need to have a connecting word, so we can use and. He thought he knew who should write what. Because and meanwhile he thought he knew who should write. Meanwhile means something must have happened in the middle. Meanwhile means after some time. There is no time gap. There is no other activity. There is no period of time which is mentioned there. So this would be the best option. Appealing books for beginner readers, and he thought he knew who should write what. So answer should be A. We don't need a capital letter, small letter. I think so. Understood. Okay, we go to the next question. Fifth one. We got the underlined part. Which choice best supports the information that follows in the sentence? Now they said that which sentence can match this fifth. If you replace this, which sentence can be useful? Now here that doesn't mean that the sentence which is given is wrong. When they use the word best supports the answer. So if you do not get, when they use this kind of word, if you do not find any word matching, then you can just go with no change. It is improving a sentence, make it a crisp sentence. Now here, having known Spalding for many years and having maintained a professional relationship with him, comma, Geisel was an experienced writer and illustrator. Now, we have got, he was an experienced writer and illustrator. So the question is that follows in the sentence. What, when they wrote follows in the sentence, that is, what does this word mean? That is what they are asking. Which sentence talks about he was an experienced writer and illustrator? They're not asking you to replace. Supports the information that follows the sentence. That is, this in sentence can be supported with which information? It can't, so we cannot say with no change, because no change doesn't give any answer to our question. Acquired a reputation for perfectionism and for setting high standards for his work, or been interested in politics before breaking into genre of children's literature. They did talk about children's literature. Published in 9 children's books and having received 3 nominations for prestigious Caldecott Medal. Caldecott Medal is a medal which is given for illustrations. A, B, D options. A, B, D. One thing, A cannot be the answer, because they asked you to find out which sentence can give more information. They did not ask you to change the sentence, to find out can you improve it, which can give us more information. So it cannot be A. and we do not know about it. Here, the entire thing is, if you have any problem, you can look at the next one. This new project presented him with an obstacle. What is the obstacle? Again, if you want to know, you can read that. It is about elementary school. So high standards for its work. It is not about his work. It is not about politics. I do not know. Just, is there anyone who got the answer? B or D? B or D? Acquired reputation for perfectionism. Now, now here we already have discussed on the first day. When you get punctuation marks, you need to concentrate. When you get any number or any conjunctions, you need to concentrate. Here we have got and writer and illustrator. So which sentence talks about writer and illustrator? Here in D option, they have given, he wrote 9 children's books, and he got 3 nominations for the prestigious medal. So that shows that he must be an experienced writer. Writer is book. This one medal is for illustrations, so drawing. So these two actually talks about that he's an experienced person. So answer should be D. It cannot be B. It is not about high standard. If it is standard, why should they say that is a no? It can't be B, because highly experienced mean reputation for perfectionism. All experienced people are perfect. That is what you need to ask, because here the sentence says that for perfectionism. Perfectionism means doing everything in a precise right way. Setting high standard. So having high standard means experience. You get experience. You after maybe this weekend you get experience doing these passages. That does that mean that you're perfect? No, you have done many of these passages. You have got plenty of idea how to do it. So you have done many passages. It can't be B. The first thing is we need to look at. I'm explaining the word experience. Okay, if you read further, I'll read further. This new project presented him with an obstacle. What is that obstacle? His entire book using a restricted vocabulary from an elementary school list of 348. So perfectionist or acquired a reputation for high standard, then why would they ask him to write a book for elementary school? Because he uses high standards for his work. And then they asked him to use a simple vocabulary, so that doesn't match. First thing, keep in mind, we are doing a time-based exam paper. First thing, it is not like open-end paper where you get 3 hours and you can crack the reading passage. How much time you want, you can take. But here it is time restricted. We have got 35 minutes, only 35 minutes to answer 45 questions. So when they make this kind of question paper, they have got certain things in their mind. And what is it? Do the students know their grammar, which they learned in the school? That is what we need to look at. So if they have underlined, we can just read, because next question is 6th. You should not read this part of the question at reading passage at all. You should not read. Your answer should be only from first line till 6th. This one, 4 lines, only 4 lines. That is the rule. You have to read only these 4 lines and get the answer. You read further. Do you get a time to read further in the exam? No. So they have given this sentence, maintained a professional relationship with him. So which sentence gives more information that he had a professional relationship? The professional relationship is he was a writer and illustrator, and he was experienced writer. So which sentence talks about experienced writer? Perfectionist means experienced. Perfectionist is not experienced. A person who does things perfectly, and a person who does things perfectly is called as a stickler, which you may get in vocabulary. Stickler. And a stickler is a person who takes lots of time to do the work, because they're more worried about perfection, not about the amount of work they do. So it cannot be experienced. Experience happens when you do many things out within a period of time. And D says that he had written many books. So if he had written many books that too related to children, then he must be an experienced writer. And because he got award for this medal, that medal is for illustration drawing. So this sentence actually gives more information of the sentence, experienced writer and illustrator, or he maintained a professional relationship with him. Okay. It is not B. There is no probability at all. It is completely wrong. B is completely wrong because they use the word high standard. There is no high standard in these 4 lines. We have a many years having maintained a professional relationship. If he had worked for many years, it must be, he must be writing many books. And they said he's an experienced writer. So B can never be the answer. C cannot be the answer. How can we? Where is the politics here? Where did they mention in these 4 lines that he was interested in politics rather than in writing? You see, if you go in this way, deviating yourself, then you can never get to the answer in a minute's time. The entire concept is, can your eyes see the important concept, get the answer within a time, within the given time. That is less than half a minute. So what we do is, we have got many years, many is an adjective, and after comma, because always your answer is supported with a punctuation mark, and if you have got a comma, after comma actually explains further, and that is experienced writer and illustrator. Look at the sentence which shows that he's experienced. To have experience, you have to do the same task many times. And here we have got 9 children's book, not 1 book, but 9 books he had written. So he must be smart, he must be experienced in that. He got not 1 award, but he got 3 awards. So that also shows that he is an experienced person. And this is for illustration, this is for writing books. So answer is D. No further confusion. Simply you are reading unnecessary. This is not like normal reading passage. I'm telling you beforehand, don't read unnecessary sentences. Now we have got a sentence, 6th one. After 6, should we have however or not? That is the question. Should we have however or not? So we need to see, is the first sentence is in contrast to the second sentence. That is the only thing we need to look at. Here he talked about he maintained a lot of good relationship. He's an experienced person, but if he's an experienced person, how can he has got an obstacle, some kind of a block? Some have given the answer right. You need to see, is it speaking about the same thing or opposite? Here they talked about he is an experienced person. Then experienced person, when they get an obstacle, because of their experience, they know how to solve the obstacle. But there is an obstacle. He felt that there is an obstacle. That is, he cannot go further. That means it is contrast. If you have a contrast, you cannot use furthermore. You cannot use for example. So there is a contrast, experienced person, but there is an obstacle. So however would be a right word. So there is no need for any change. So answer is A. Whoever gave answer A is right. Previous sentence talks about experience and next sentence talks about obstacle. Both are in contrast. So use a negative conjunction, and here only one sentence has got negative conjunction. That is no change. That is, you use the same word as it is. So answer is 6. Sorry, A. For 6, answer is A. Hope understood. Okay, fine. Now we go to the next question. You need to think fast and get the answer fast. 7th question. Now what is the 7th question? Again, we have got 7th here down. So just look only at this sentence. On the verge from here. That's all we need to look at. Hat. Only till hat. If you want, you can read. If you don't understand, otherwise don't read. What did they say? They just wanted us to find out whether we need to have any change in the question or not. Nothing is given. So on the verge of giving up. So he was tired. He did not know what to do. Gaze's story finally hit upon an image that became its basis. Colin marks. That means he's going to explain further. A cat wearing a battered stovepipe hat. So finally, ly word, adverb. finally hit upon an image that became its basis. Its basis, what's basis? So is it an image that Gazel finally hit upon became the basis of the story, or finally hit upon the image that became the basis of the story, or the story was finally based on image of Gazel hit upon? And the colon marks, which can be the answer. Gazel finally hit upon an image. There is some error in the sentence. Image that became its basis. What's the basis? Whose basis? On what basis? Okay, fine. Those who gave the answer, it's right. Answer is C. Now, Gazel story finally hit upon an image that, so you can't say on the verge of giving up. An image that Gazel finally hit upon became the basis of a story, or on the verge of giving up, Gazel finally hit upon the image that became the basis of the story, or on the verge of giving up, the story was finally based upon. That is a passive voice on an image that Gazel hit upon. Yes, answer is C, right. It can't be D because it is a passive voice. On the verge of giving up, Gazel finally hit upon the image that became the basis for his story. Hope there is no confusion. Now, eighth question. We need to find out, should we have the sentence as it is or should we change? So we look at full stop is given at the end of a duration of 9 months long. What 9 months long? The cat in the hat was complete. So there is some grammatical at the end of a duration. At the end of a duration 9 months long. That is entirely wrong. So which sentence can match? After 36 weeks or 9 months had passed. Why do you need 36 weeks? After a length of 9 months had passed, or 9 months later. We need to go for crisp sentence. Which sentence is the crisp? Wow, excellent. Whoever gave the answer, I think so. There is no confusion. This is the crisp sentence. Yes, crisp sentence. Instead of writing at the end of a duration 9 months long, you can say that 9 months later, the cat in the hat was completed. Okay, fine. That is good. So I think so everyone got it. So we go to the next. Ninth, again, we need to find out, do we need to change? Here it is a verb. So it is a subject verb agreement. So you need to see, should I use is present tense or was or has been or delete it? So we need to look at the word before this. What is starting? Children were, so it is a past tense, entertained by its plot about the antics. Antics means the body language of the mischievous cat, and it can't be used. Captivated by its eye-catching illustrations. Do we need, it can't be is, so we can't go with the 9. We can't go with the 9, that is, we can't go with A. No change is wrong. Should we delete is, or should we can't go with the has been, that is also can be eliminated because they use the word were, past tense. So our answer is it B or D? B or D? Okay. And was, we need to go with the crisp sentence. Children, many gave B and D as an answer. We just check. Children were entertained by its plot about the antics of a mischievous cat, and children, and was captivated by its eye-catching illustration. Children was captivated. Children plural, it cannot be was. So direct answer, they better remove it because no other option matches. We cannot go with no change because it is. You should go with the past is. So no other word actually matches. We can't go with was because they're talking about children. Antics of a mischievous cat. Children were entertained and children were captivated, not the cat. Children were captivated. Children were entertained and children were captivated by eye-catching illustration. Cat is not interested in illustrations in a textbook. So it is a children, so it cannot be was, so it can't be go with no change. So answer is D. Delete that word is. Antics of a mischievous cat and captivated by its eye-catching illustration also makes sense. Okay. Now, next one. In the years that followed, this itself we know that it is a grammatically wrong sentence. We have got after full stop, we got many. So we cannot have many like this. We cannot have many. There must be some punctuation mark. So should we have a semicolon? Should we have a comma? Or should we have a hyphen? Or should we go with the no change? Some, yes, yes, giving the answer. So 10th one. C, C, D. Okay. In many, in the years that followed, comma, many talented writers, comma, many talented writers and illustrators. We cannot go with the semicolon because semicolon should have a complete sentence. In the years that followed, we do not have a subject or a verb. So it cannot be B. We cannot go with B. Okay, and A cannot be the answer because it doesn't make any sense. So the sentence is not complete. And if you use a hyphen, then you are going to speak more about followed. So this also is wrong. So whoever gave the answer C, C is the right answer. In the years that followed, comma, many talented writers and illustrators of children's book imitated his formula. Okay, C, C is right. Now, 11th one, the writer wants a conclusion that restates the main theme of the passage. Which choice best accomplishes this goal? So when we already have done, the types of questions are being repeated because to get experience. So when you get a word conclusion, you should always go to the starting of the passage. It was a book, either you can go with or you can go back. This is the story. First sentence and last sentence should match. The story of the cat in the hat's publication began with someone. Why? Because there is a need for appealing book for the beginning readers. That is why he started. So now, where is our, yes, this is the question. Now, the last sentence, the cat in the hat success is not its influence on other books, but its limited vocabulary, appealing word choice. So now the question says, the writer wants a conclusion that restates the main theme. So whatever we have read, we need to find out a sentence which matches with that. So which one talks about this? 11, I think so. These are all have given a C. First one, no, we need to have a conclusion. There is no conclusion here. Continue with, it is not worldwide. We did not get any names of the countries. They are not talking about history and century. They are talking only about children and one option. Enduring ability to delight children and engage them in learning how to read. Delight children and engage them in how to read. So that is a C. So straight away we got the C answer. So we are going to learn here, when you get a concluding statement, the last sentence should match with the first sentence of the reading passage. The first sentence talks about children's book. The last sentence also must be having a sentence which is related to children's book, and only C has got that option. So answer is a C. I think so. Understood. Okay, we go to now next passage. You get almost 4 to 5 passages in section 2. Actually, we were supposed to do 44 questions in 1 hour time. I do not know whether we can do it. How much time? 40 minutes over. We just completed only 11 answers because we thought I need to explain why a sentence is right or wrong. So that is why. But you need to practice. You got material, so you need to practice to answer 44 questions in half an hour's time. 15 minutes, 11 questions. Now we have got another passage, 12 to 22. 12th question, we already know that if they give a question like this, we need to go to, if there is no question, don't get worried, go to the number. 12. When they pick up a litter, I think so, litter, you know the meaning. Litter has got many meanings. Litter can be any kind of rubbish or garbage, rubbish or garbage. Okay, anything, litter. Litter also means young, sorry, young, young ones of animals, like puppies or kittens is also called as a litter. Anything you spread, because all those, they give birth to many animals at a time, many babies, many cubs, many kittens. So that is also called as a litter. So it can be any litter, but here what do they say in the previous line? Such volunteering, be it helping at a local animal shelter. That is where they use the word litter, animal shelter, when they pick up a litter, or working at a healthcare facility. So what which is, now you look at the option, no change, to pick up litter, litter collection, picking up litter. What can be the answer? Some have already given the answer. Okay, only one person gave the answer. Okay, uh, such volunteering, be it helping at a local animal shelter, comma, when they pick up, why again when they pick up? So you can say the picking up litter or working. This is called as parallelism. What is it? After or we have got working. Before and, after and should be same, before or, after or should be the same. So after or we have got working, so there must be ing form, and only picking has got ing form, so answer should be D. Not A and B. It cannot be A. Such volunteering, be it helping at a local animal shelter, comma, you're talking about activities, so why should you use the word pronoun they? This is explaining what the people, when they pick up litter, local animal shelter, are they going to pick up the young ones of animals? That is what they mean. If that is the meaning, then you can go with this, even though the sentence grammatically it is wrong. So they're not talking, they are talking about cleaning the place. So local animal shelter, picking up litter, litter is the garbage or waste which is thrown everywhere, or working at a health care facility. So this is called parallelism. The word before all, volunteering is given, working is here, helping local animals, picking up litter, working. So all these come under same format. So answer is D. It cannot be to pick up litter, then you need to work at a health center, to help at a local animal shelter, to help at a local animal shelter, to pick up litter, to help, to work at a health care facility, then you can go with B. But we don't have it, so answer is D. Okay. Now we go to the next one. The writer, the question is given here. The writer wants a transition. Transition means a change from the previous paragraph that highlights the criticism compulsory volunteering mentioned in the previous paragraph. Which choice best accomplishes this goal? So he wants to change from previous paragraph to next paragraph. So should we go by its very definition? Is it okay? Or whenever the work, maybe the volunteering work is done willingly. So you need to go matching with the next part of the sentence. Volunteer work is done willingly. Whatever the work may be, volunteer work is done willingly, or for many students, volunteer work is done willingly. Fortunately, for communities in need, volunteer work is done willingly. Or previous, based on the previous sentence, what should we go with? Previous sentence. But critics say that making volunteerism compulsory misses the point of the act. That is, when they critics say that making volunteering compulsory, that is to do volunteering work, they miss the point. So you need to come to the next. So if they miss the point, that means they did not understand what volunteering work is. So next paragraph, they need to give the meaning of volunteering work. That is the work which is done willingly. So volunteerism means, by its very definition, it means that you do the work willingly. One person gave the answer. 13 is A, right, good. So 13 should be answer. There is no change. Transition, you're going to explain why there is a criticism. So you're explaining the word. which means volunteering work is done willingly. Comma after comma is an explanation. So by its very definition, that is enough to explain the goal of the writer, that is, this work should be done. So it should be A. Okay, no change. The same thing with 14th one. By requiring students to do community service in order to graduate, school officials. Now here, when we look at the sentence, we find an apostrophe here. So mainly we need to look at punctuation mark. Officials are taking away students to punctuation marks. So we consider, do we need a apostrophe or not? If at all we need, where do we need? School officials are taking away students. If you look at it, all the three options are same, except in C, we have got student apostrophe S. For D, we have got students plural apostrophe S. So which one should we go? Where should we need an apostrophe? Yes, yes. Sharma giving the answer. Good. 14 D, 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 D. Everyone gave D. Wow, that is good. Answer should be D. We don't say officials plural. The school officials are all the school officials included. We don't have to have a possessive form there. The school officials are taking away students' choice. Students' choice is each student's choice. So as a whole, which includes individual students, so we need to have apostrophe after S. If you get apostrophe before S, means you are talking about single student. Here we are talking about collective choice, all the students together. Then it should be D. After students, we need to have an apostrophe. Yes, right. Got the answer. Good. So you are good at apostrophes. Okay, now next question. 15th question. Do we need to change or not change? Proponents. Proponent means people who support, who encourage. Proponent means encourage, support. Support also means advocate. So proponents, vocabulary. Proponents means advocate. Advocate, I already gave you on the first. Advocate means actually support or encourage. So proponents are people who support. Also campaign, CAMPAIGN. Campaign also is supporting. Proponents of or supporting compulsory volunteering, who are in favor of it, point out that it allows. So we need to say, should we go with the no change, or proponents of compulsory volunteering advocate it, comma, or proponents of volunteering point out that, or and it advocates. So we have got some have given the answer. Okay, good. Double answer. Okay. Answer, whoever answer is given is right. It is C. Proponent also means advocating. Advocating. So advocate can be eliminated. It need not be there. You are repeating the same word. It's not needed. Proponent means to support. So should we go for change, or should we go with C? We are going to look at the best answer. It can't be D, because proponents of compulsory volunteering and its advocates. So why you need and it also advocates? Proponents means are people who are supporting. So again, advocates means you are repeating the same one. Like people say, Mr. Ramakrishna Garu, sorry, Mr. Ramakrishna Garu. People do write Mr. Ramakrishna Garu. Mr. means Garu, same thing. You are doing repeating. It is called redundancy. It is not accepted. So proponents, advocate mean both the same. So it is not like we say you find free gift. Free gift is a wrong statement, because you don't pay money for your gift. It is a free. Gift is a free. Free is a free. So why do you need a free gift? It is just like free gift. Proponents of compulsory volunteering and its advocates. That is advocates of compulsory volunteering and its advocates. It's a repetition, a redundancy. So best is C. Some have given the answer, so it's right. Now we look at 16th one. Students who volunteer report increased self-esteem, that is, feel confident, better relationship building skills, and increasingly busy schedule. So we need to find out something related to busy schedule. Now the question is, which choice provides a supporting example that is more similar in the example already in the sentence? That is what is given there. A closer connection with their community, less time spent engaging in social activities. They said that increasingly busy schedule. Which sentence talks about busy schedule? Schedule means the activities which you do. Students who volunteer report increase. So now you have got positive word. If you go with the C, if anyone has given C as an answer, C, because they ask for a supporting statement. Yes. So you think it is a supporting statement. So you go with the A. Statement which supports. Okay, that is an increasingly busy schedule. See, when self-esteem, is it a good word, self-esteem? I think it is good. Better relationship building skills, having good relationship is also good. So if it is good relationship, and we learn that if you have and before and after and should be the same. So we need to find out a sentence which means a relationship building skill, which it doesn't talk about relationship building skill. So I think so it must be B. Relationship building that you are creating before and after, and it should be a positive word. Yes, it can't be A. You can't go with the same. Busy schedule means you are tied up with so much of work, then maybe one day you feel that, oh, why did I do volunteering work? Because it is taking most of my time. So it is not supporting if you go with no change. It should be similar to the previous one. Previous one is, it is good points, development. Increasing busy schedule is not development. So answer is a B. Okay, 17 to 1. Oh, 5 minutes. More who do, some studies have also found that students who do community service are more likely to be volunteer as adults. That is it for 17 to 1 you're giving the answer, or is it 16? 16th answer D is wrong, because they don't talk about academic achievement. They are talking about who volunteer, they become self-confident, personality development, relationship building, and so it is outside, not in the head. Head is academic, memorizing. Okay, 17 is a D and a B. We look at 17, D or B. Okay, it is, we already have done D or B. Okay, fine. Answer D or B. Okay, fine. D or B, fine. Right. But we need to pick up only one answer. Now, the meanings, effect is, I gave you in the first day, effect means the outcome. Outcome. What comes out, or we call as a result. Product, what comes. Affect means you are involved, prone. Sorry, it is prone, P-R-O-N-E. Prone means something which is involved in. So it is the mistake which usually students make. Is it a busier schedule is neither a good or bad thing. It is busier schedule is not a good thing, because you are not getting enough time for yourself or doing any activity. Busy schedule, that means you don't get any free time. Okay, answer is given. Answer, so that is, so it is a busy schedule is not a good thing here. So even if, so instead of busy schedule, what sentence can be replaced? You can have B, positive word, a closer communication with their community, because they're talking volunteering work, not studies. So here it should be B. The reason here is it cannot be effect. We look at service are more likely as adults, and thus affect society positively. So it should be affect, because it is going to be involved. It is not affect. Affect the society positively. Now we need to look at, is it affects or affect? And the easy way to remember is, if you have got singular, you use affects. If it is a plural, you use affect. That is 2 times you cannot have S. Now here, community service are adults. We have got adults. Adults is a plural. So answer should be affect. Adults plural, so answer is affect. Now is it affect because it's plural? Right. Your answer is right. It now I think so. 16 and 17 answers are okay. We need to go to next one. 18, 2 pages. How much time? 4 minutes. 18 to 1. We have got some names here. University in Birmingham, Alabama did focus specifically on mandatory volunteering, comma, full stop. Mandatory means compulsory. Now, if you look at the options, coercive means a mentally pressurize a person. Mentally pressurize a person is called coercive. Force a person. Force a person also mandatory means compulsory. Forcibly also is compulsory. Imperative means you're supposed to do it. That is also compulsory. So all the words mean the same. All the three words have got the same meaning like mandatory, compulsory. So better to have mandatory. There is no need for any change. Because all words would mean the same. Yes, right. So we go with no change. This word is better. Mandatory, instead of saying coercive is a negative word. Forcibly is also a negative word. Imperative can be taken, but hidden reference. So it is mandatory would be a better option. It's a beautiful word. Next one. What is there? Where is the comma? We have got a comma here. So starting sentence. She found the students who are required to volunteer rush to complete their service hours in early high school, comma, they then did significantly less regular volunteer work in 12th grade. So we have got a comma here. So our answer must be related to punctuation mark. Do we need a full stop or semicolon, or we go with a comma? Complete the service in early high school. If you want to have a full stop, then we can't have a comma. We can go with a full stop, but you can't need you don't need a comma here. So 19 is a D. Okay, 19 is a D. If you use a semicolon, you can go with the semicolon. So we have got here B and D. Now early high school, semicolon, they then did significantly. So B and D look alike. They then. So in B you have got a comma. So we cannot go with the comma. There is no need. So answer is D. Those who have given D, answer is right. It can't be A, because they then you after comma, if you have a pronoun, then the first part itself is a complete sentence. She found, noun, verb, so subject, predicate, everything is there. Second one also, verb is there, noun is there, that is pronoun. So there should be a semicolon or a full stop, but in full stop we can't have a comma, so we eliminate C. So semicolon should be there. So B and D. B has got a comma, we don't need a comma, so answer is D. Okay, 20. 12th grade, so did significantly less regular volunteering work in 12th grade than the service hours of those not required to volunteer. Than the service of hours of those. Than the service hours of those not required. So do we, it looks not good. So we need to have a change. Than the students who were not required to volunteer, that looks okay. Than hours worked by students not required to volunteer, or 12th grade compared with the students not required to volunteer. So it looks a B or a D. What can be the option? B or a D? So you people are choosing some different option. See, this sentence doesn't make any sense. It doesn't look grammatically right. Less regular volunteering work in the 12th grade than the service hours of those not required to. Service of hours of those, you can make it more simple using the students. D or B. So we can either go with D or B. Compared with the students not required to come, is it D or here. So here you can, because they are talking about volunteering work in the 12th grade compared with the students, instead of that, B would be a better choice. Less regular volunteering work in the 12th grade than, that is in contrast, the students, than did the students who were not required to volunteer. Did is a service. Did is a service. So it is better matching compared with the students. When you talk about students, they do not talk about the work. That is why D cannot be the answer. C cannot be the answer because than hours by the students. 12th grade, than the hours worked by students, than the hours significantly less regular volunteering work in 12th grade. They're talking about work, not hours. Not hours. We are, because they give hours, we think that okay, hours is given, but they're not talking about hours, they're talking about work, regular work or not regular work. So C doesn't need. They're talking about, they did not speak about hours in the previous part. Did they speak about hours? No. So we cannot have hours. They're talking about students. So we need to have B or D. So answer B will be a better one because B talks about the work. C just talks about students. Okay, time is up. Just quickly, we look at two more questions. Which choice most effectively sets up the point made in the next sentence? Instead of requiring students to volunteer, schools have to recognize that not all students are equally well suited to the same activities. Should we change or not change? Should allow students to spend their time participate in athletic, why did they speak, and other extracurricular activities? Should focus on offering arrangements that make volunteer. They're talking about volunteering. So we just have to see, should we go with the same sentence or C? D talks about recognizing. See, I do not know whether you're deliberately doing this. I do not know. We are talking entire reading pass about volunteering. Here doesn't talk about volunteering. C talks about volunteering. So we need to check whether this sentence is okay or C is okay. Implied about community service, volunteering service. So have to recognize that not all students are equally well suited to the same activity. Instead of saying that students focus on offering arrangements that make volunteering as easy and attractive. So this would be effectively made rather than having the, they're talking of, see, easy way to eliminate two stupid options. Okay, so C is the answer. Any doubt with the C? But the answer has no relation to original sentence. Of course, it is there. Have to recognize that not all students are equally well suited to do the same activities. That is, they many people cannot do. So it is not suitable. So you make it more suitable. Then volunteering work can happen. So make arrangements which makes it easy and attractive. The entire course of the students should volunteer work to make it easy and attractive. Then all students may join our volunteering work. So this is matching. Now last sentence, writer wants a conclusion. So what is the reading passage about volunteering? So we have got volunteer, all sentence talks about volunteering. Now we need to speak in the end that help most students volunteer in their own free time. So they want students to volunteer. So we need to see which sentence talks about important students choose charitable work. No, for psychology, they don't talk about it. So these two we can eliminate. Students do their part-time for the worthwhile organization United States, or schools do this will produce more engaged, enthusiastic volunteers than schools that require volunteer work. So is it A or B? One person has given answer. It should be B. They're talking about schools. It is imperative, mandatory that students become volunteers.